So guys, if you have a puppy and you struggle with car sickness, then this video is for you. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. The main thing that Mabel struggled with when she was a puppy was car sickness. Literally from the first time that we picked her up, she threw up in the car. I remember that journey home because I had her on my lap and then, yeah, she was literally sick all over me, bless her, she was so tiny. So yeah, today I'm going to sit down with you all and give you my top tips on puppy car sickness and how to travel with your puppy. And just give you my top tips on what I did for Mabel and what worked really well for her, because there was things that I tried that really worked well and things that didn't work well. I know a lot more now, and she's in a position where she literally hasn't been sick in the car for about 3 months. I think it was October the last time she was sick. Okay, so Mabel was first of all just a really anxious traveller. Like, she hated being in the car. It made her so anxious. She'd always cry and scream. So I would always like take her out of her car seat and put her on my lap, which looking back now was a really stupid idea. Basically what I did is, you know those puppy slings? I would have one of those on. Obviously I would be in my car seat and I would have her in the puppy sling, so she was still hooked in a sling which I was attached to, so like she wasn't just like loose, but obviously she wasn't just like secure in a car seat. So she would try and move about, she'd try and climb up here, she'd try and like move around onto me. I think all of this movement and wiggling was what was making her sick, because she was always sick. Another thing is, her car seat that she used to have was quite like a low down one, and she was always sick in that car seat. I've now bought her a new one, which I will insert a picture of here, and this is like, it looks like a box almost, but it's so much higher up, so she will literally like just rest her head on the top of it, and she can like look out the window, look out the side windows, look out the front windows, and now she can actually see what's going on, and she's not like trying to like squirm or worm about. So I definitely recommend getting a higher car seat. I think you can actually get raised ones, or you can get like little booster seats and put obviously the car seats on there. But this one that I've got it's from the brand Funny Fuzzy. I will link it in the description. It's honestly so good, and Mabel has not been sick once since she's had this car seat, so I think that definitely helps. Also, I think now obviously like she is a bit older, like she's not a puppy anymore, so that is kind of probably why she's just gotten more used to the car. Like, obviously when they're a puppy they're gonna hate it, they don't really know what it is, they're not gonna be used to it at all, whereas now she obviously knows when she gets in the car like we're either going somewhere or like she's just a bit more familiar with it. So I do have to say, obviously, to take that into consideration, they're not going to be great. It is just going to take a lot of getting used to the car. Another thing I used to use when Mabel was puppy was, I bought this, you can get like in spray or drops, so I've actually had both. So I've had the calming spray from Pets at Home, and I've also had the Herbal Dog Company calming drops, which you literally just drop like a tiny little drop in the mouth. So this is basically like rescue remedy but for dogs, and it's just like a natural remedy which calms them down and makes them really chill. So I actually used to use this, the spray was what I used to use when Mabel was a puppy, and then I didn't actually discover the drops until later on. But the spray was so good, honestly. I would just spritz it around her little car seat and around her, and like within 20 minutes she'd be asleep, and I'd be like, wow, what has gone on there? So yeah, I definitely recommend looking into calming sprays. I think there is things that you can get from the vets, like tablets and stuff, but I was always just a bit put off it. I just didn't want to give her something that like wasn't really that necessary. Like I would always lean more towards the natural remedy stuff, because I just didn't want to give her like a load of like unnecessary medication. Like, obviously it would help, but I don't know, like I hadn't done like much research on like what was in the medication, like what I did. And also because she was so small and she's a miniature dachshund and she's literally like so small and fragile, I just feel like quite a lot of the medication out there that the vets prescribe are really strong. So whenever I would get like her flea and worm tablets, they would always make me like cut it into like little quarters and then give it to her, which always really worried me, because I was like, well, is this too much for me to be giving such a small dog? So yeah, just be really careful about things like that. Obviously just do your research before you give your dog something. Obviously the vets do know best, but always do your research. It's your dog at the end of the day, and you've got to do what is right for your dog. Yeah, I literally remember one trip that we went on. We were going down south and it was literally like a 3-hour journey. Mabel was sick 5 times and I just knew like this was like peak of her sickness. Like she was always sick in the car, but this was just a period where she was just always being sick and like multiple times as well. So what I did was I would take poo bags with me and I would make sure I was sat next to her, and any time that I could like see her about to be sick. Anytime she was about to be sick, she would always get up and kind of like look around as if like to say like, I'm gonna be sick, and she'd always look at me, and then like her stomach and stuff, you could just see like it was about to come out. So I would always have poo bags ready and I would literally just use it as like a little sick bag. And I remember like one car journey I literally had like 5 of these poo bags which were full of sick. So yeah, I have been through it with Mabel and her car sickness. Like she's really struggled with it, and don't get me wrong, like she's not, to be fair, recently she's actually been so good in the car. Like now she's in her car seat that's like raised, she's just so good. And I think as well in this car seat she literally like stays still, so she rests her head in the corner on the little like higher box bit and just stays there the whole way, and she'll just either fall asleep or like open her eyes or fall asleep. Whereas her other car seat, like there was nowhere really for her to rest her head, so she'd always move about. And I think it is genuinely down to the movement, like, and just all like the motion, and that I think that's what was actually making her throw up. But yeah, I definitely say the main tip that I use now is I will literally take her on the biggest walk ever before I know that we've got a long car journey. So say if like I know we're going to be in the car for 2-3 hours, then yeah, I'll just take her on a huge walk, take the ball out with us and just get her running around and just completely exhausted, and then she will literally just sleep the entire way. Because if you're going on a long car journey and they've not like walked or exercised before you put them in the car, then they're just gonna obviously be like hyper, have loads of energy, be moving about. So a tired dog is a calmer dog. So yeah, definitely make sure that you take them on a big walk before you take them in the car. Also, what we would do is we would like avoid giving her food before a car journey. So say like she was due to have a breakfast right before we set off, I would always just wait and give her breakfast after the car journey, because she was always more likely to be sick obviously if she's got like a full stomach. So yeah, we would just not give her like a big massive breakfast beforehand and just give it to her when we get there. But yeah, if your dog is a small puppy and you are still getting them used to the car, I definitely recommend just like gradually increasing the amount of time that you're taking them in the car. So start off with like small journeys, like if you're just going around the corner for like 10 minutes and just get them used to kind of like the sound of the engine. And even if you just like, to begin with, just sit in the car with them for like 20-30 minutes and just get them used to being in the car. It's also like they're just not used to the environment and the surroundings, so getting them used to the car is really key. Also want to make sure the car isn't too hot, so we would always just put like the air conditioning on to keep it cool. Obviously like if it gets a bit too hot, they're going to feel a bit more sick, and yeah, that's never a good idea. So make sure it's nice and cool. Yeah, I would always bring Mabel's favourite toys and blankets as well and just put them in her little car seat just so she felt more comfortable. You could also put your jumpers, clothes, anything that's got your scent on it as well. Sometimes if they're like whining and crying, I would just like put my hand over to where Mabel was, and then she would just like she's jumping on me now. Put my hand over and then she would kind of calm down a bit more and just know that like I am there. Obviously they're just getting really stressed and anxious, but I think with Mabel it was definitely a mixture of the two. It was definitely a mixture of the two. So she would get, obviously, sorry, she's chewing my hair bubble. Yeah, so she would just get stressed, anxious, and obviously I think the motion sickness was a big thing. Now that she like stays still, like I was saying before, I think that has really massively helped. Also, like when they are obviously really small puppy and say if they're like 10-ish weeks old, it's really a good idea to make sure you have frequent breaks and stops. So we would stop like every 30 to 60 minutes because when they're that young, the bladder is still so tiny. Yeah, so they need to obviously have those toilet breaks. Also, the toilet breaks are really good for fresh air because also, I mean, it's like humans, if you're in a car for too long, you can start to feel a bit sick and you just need like a bit of fresh air. Whenever we open the window, she would get a bit scared because obviously when you open a window and if you're on like a motorway, it's really noisy. Just say, hang in there if you've got a small puppy and they are throwing up all the time. Mabel has come such a long way, and that was her biggest, worst nightmare ever when she was in the car, and now she's honestly so good. She's not been sick for 3 months in the car, which is a massive achievement. So yeah, I'm really proud of her. She's come such a long way. But yeah, I hope these tips help. Good luck, hang in there. If you would like any more help, tips or advice from me or any other Dachshund owners, then I do have a Dachshund community. I will leave the link for it in the description, but yeah, it's so good. If you click on the link, it'll tell you all about what's in it. I'm not going to go into it too much, but yeah, definitely go check that out if you are a Dachshund owner and you would like to be part of our fun little community. Anyway, I'm going to close this video off here, so thank you so much to everyone who's watched. Please don't forget to like and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I shall see you all in the next video.